Hello, every pony. It's me, Peace Petal, back with another video, this time about G3, and I'm so excited to be featuring Partly Pinkie on my channel. We're gonna do one video here about my favorite G3 character, Minty, and then one video on her channel about her favorite G3 character, Rarity. So check that out once it comes out. I'll put a link in the description. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Partly Pinky. I upload yearly because my scheduling sucks, and it is a pleasure to be on a Peace Pedal video.
Well, it is so exciting when you do upload. Your videos are wonderful. I will also say Partly Pinky is the server owner of Butterfly Island Discord server, which is a great place that you can find me on a lot. So I've added a link in the description for that. And yes, Partly Pinky is just fantastic and I love her and I'm so excited to have her here.
Stop, thank you.
All right, so as I mentioned, we'll be talking about my favorite G3 character, which is Minty. So to start us off, let's talk about her visual design. How do you feel about the pony Minty?
So in a world like G3, where the majority of the characters are, pink, purple, blue, yellow, Minty really stands out. There are not a lot of green ponies, and I think that's part of the reason why Minty makes such an impression on people. Her coat being green, combined with her mane being pink, it really gives off a festive feel. And I think that's probably why she was picked for the starring role in her movie, obviously, the Very Minty Christmas. Even when the vibe isn't something festive, she just has this look of like happiness. When you look at Minty, you feel happy, and she's great for that, honestly.
She looks very nice, and if you're looking at, depending on which version of the toy, she's got that donkey pose, and some of them, it really just, she looks happy. I also appreciate the version of the toy that has her socks and I think a scarf. There are some great toys of Minty, but just default Minty, any Minty, great colors. The light green with the pink is such a good color combination. They also used it on Fizzy. She kind of reminds me of Fizzy, and every time they use this color combination, it's just peak pony.
Peak pony, I like that. The Minty I have on my desk is the donkey pose one, so I just get to glance over and look at her like, hmm.
I love that pose. All right, next bit. Let's talk about her voice, voiced by Tabitha St. Germain. How do you feel about Tabitha's voice acting for this character?
I really don't think anybody could do Minty like how Tabitha does Minty. She's got such a unique voice, and I think that goes for the entire franchise of My Little Pony, not just G3. It's so silly but endearing, especially when she has her little like stutters and obviously the laugh. Almost like she talks so fast that she gets ahead of herself. So her klutzy nature is featured within her voice, and I really, really appreciate that.
Yes, I love her little laugh. I mean, without Tabitha St. Germain, would Minty be so much fun to watch? Like, she just embodies this character and goes all into it. Like you said, she'll get ahead of herself and like stumble on her words. And to me, she feels just like just a tiny bit unhinged, and I think she's hilarious. All right, we're gonna talk about the sock obsession.
Sock
Everyone
obsession.
who loves Minty loves the sock obsession. Am I right?
You are correct. Every piece of fan art I see, Minty is either talking about socks or wearing socks, and that's just perfect. I remember when My Little Pony was first getting popular, a lot of people would draw the ponies in socks because it was cute. So I just want to let everybody know that our girl Minty did it first. She did it before it was cool.
It's true, she did.
Um, and I also think that the sock obsession kind of plays into her like quirky randomness that a lot of people like about Minty because it's why would you collect socks? Well, that's just what she's about. That's just her. That's in her nature. She loves socks.
Yes, I actually love her socks song. They had the guts to just take 2 minutes out of that special to have her sing about how much she loves socks. And Tabitha St. Germain 100% embodied that role and just rolled with it. It's hilarious. I adore the fact that she adores socks.
If you haven't listened to the CD version of the sock song on the Very Minty Christmas CD, You need to go and listen to it and just hear like the chaotic laugh at the very end. It's like it's even more crazy than the one in the show or in the movie, I mean.
Girl, I listen to that every day, but I'm sure there's some viewers who haven't, so I will link that in the description as well. Let's talk about her conflict and development in A Very Minty Christmas. What for you happens with this character in her featuring episode?
Minty is just a character who just wants to do good and wants to make everybody happy. And I think that makes her A, very unique, and B, the perfect choice for a comfy little Christmas special. She's not trying to like prove herself or be the best like a lot of protagonists are. She just wants to make her friends happy. And as she goes through her like I guess you could call it a type of a hero's journey in A Very Minty Christmas, you get to see what happens when she messes up, you know? Because she does mess up. She breaks the Here Comes Christmas candy cane, and she thinks, oh gosh, I ruined everything. And instantly, she just wants to fix it. She just wants to make everything right. And she doesn't want to do it because she's scared people will be mad at her. She just wants to do it because she wants all of her friends, to have a good Christmas. So she's so determined that she's going to go out to the North Pole and find Santa herself. And just the ambition of that goal is really charming to me.
Really love the scene where she's giving out her socks to every pony in town. What a kind and generous soul, like just making up for her mistake in the best way that she knows how with great personal sacrifice. I really appreciate that scene.
The socks mean so much to her, and yet she's ready to give them up for her friends. That's just a little detail that makes me love Minty so much.
I've heard criticism towards A Very Minty Christmas that the conflict is paper thin, that with a simple conversation, it all would have been over. And that is perhaps true. If Minty had just fessed up about the candy cane, then that would have been that. But personally, I think that really the important conflict in A Very Minty Christmas is not external, but internal. It is Minty overcoming her fears and regaining her confidence. She thought she had messed everything up. She didn't know how the other ponies were going to feel about it. And I think she kind of had to learn to trust herself again. So I think she grew through A Very Minty Christmas, and I think her fears were kind of at the center of that episode.
100%. Yeah, A Very Minty Christmas is a very personal journey for her. And yeah, you summed that up very nicely.
As for the character at large, I kind of see her landing in the klutzy but well-meaning archetype. She's not the only pony who has fallen in that archetype. I would argue that Muffins, another character voiced by Tabitha St. Germain, is also a more background version of this same sort of character. I think the archetypal definition for me is actually the character I think of as Gilligan from Gilligan's Island. But in any case, Minty really just sells this archetype to the fullest of its extent with all the things we've already talked about, right? Her fears in A Very Minty Christmas, but her generosity and her just good nature and her voice acting and all this stuff. Yes, she's an absolutely wonderful entry into this archetype of character.
And I think with what you said earlier, like comparing it to the character in G4 who's a background character, I really think it's very admirable that they put a character like that up in front and main stage in A Very Minty Christmas. Because a lot of characters who are like the klutzy type in media fall into this, not necessarily on purpose, but some of them come across as like, oh, this character is just annoying, or oh, this character is just dumb. But Minty is so well mannered and meaning that she escapes that fate, you know? She is ultimately one of the most charming characters I've ever seen in any media whatsoever.
Well, one other thing that is worth discussing in Minty's character is her friendship with Pinkie Pie. How do you feel about Minty and Pinkie Pie together? We see them together a lot.
I love the duo of Minty and Pinkie Pie. One of my most favorite duo archetypes ever is just this, Minty is very klutzy and well-meaning, but Pinkie is mostly very straightforward. What's another word I would use to describe Pinkie?
Forgive the misgendering, but Pinkie Pie falls into kind of the straight man archetype. You know, she's very responsible, serious most of the time. She likes having fun, of course, but she's not as prone to nonsense and goofy antics as Minty is.
Yes, exactly. Pinkie is the straight mare that
Straight mirror,
that
there we go.
that Minty kind of needs. One of my favorite examples of this is in the live show where they kind of flip it on its head, and instead, Pinkie is the one to forget and mess up, and Minty has to be there to comfort her instead in a very like modest and what's the word I'm looking for? Humble approach. She's like, I've been there, and I know how you feel right now, and it's just so endearing because we get to see both sides of this. Because in A Very Minty Christmas, that's the big example. Minty is brought to tears by what she's done, and Pinkie is there to comfort her. And when she puts a little hoof under her chin, it's like, oh, that just warms my heart. And I love these two so much.
On that scene, one detail I really like is the little flash of anger that we see from Pinkie Pie when she first tells her. She quickly puts that aside and is there for Minty. But I actually really like that because it kind of like validates the fear that Minty had, like, how are my friends going to feel about this? But of course, Pinkie is a big grown-up mare and is there for Minty.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it really, forgive the misspeciesing, it really humanizes Pinkie because the stakes are pretty high in that scene with what Minty did. But at the end of the day, she's not somebody who just destroyed Christmas. She's a friend. She's a very close friend to Pinkie. And I know it's not the Pinkie analysis, but throughout G3, you do see like Pinkie can kind of have a bit of like a little bit of a sassy side. And so having that context, knowing that she puts that aside a good bit for Minty, it's very charming. It lets you know that Pinkie knows that Minty can get into antics. Like I feel like if Minty fell in the exact same spot every single day, like if she tripped and fell, Pinkie would end up starting to like be there for her and like put a pillow underneath
Yes,
her,
there would be
like
a
ready
pillow.
anticipating for her to fall.
Yes. Well, is there anything else you would like to add about Minty? Any other reasons why you like her?
She's self-aware, and this is shown a lot in uh, the world's biggest tea party, especially because she'll have little lines like, "Oh, I hope we don't mess this up. I usually do," and it's like she knows, but she's okay with that. She doesn't beat herself into the ground for messing up. She's just aware. In that special's climax, the whole thing is about, if you mess up, don't beat yourself down. And we get to learn Minty's motive, how she keeps herself going, is that she just looks where she's going and knows where she's been. She doesn't live in the present. She doesn't let mistakes she's made meander on her.
I might argue that that is a trait that grows out of her character development in A Very Minty Christmas. That she picked up
I would think so, yeah.
that confidence.
Because Minty Christmas is where we kind of see Minty at her lowest, and she never really gets back to that point again. Say, for example, in a Very Pony Place, which actually this is like the release order, Minty Christmas came out, then the live show, then A Very Pony Place. In that special, I love the scene, but when she forgets the map to Unicornia, she doesn't get down for it or anything. She just kind of like tries to brush it off like, yeah, we don't need it. We'll be fine. And she kind of keeps this like positivity, even though she knows like, oh yeah, I kind of screwed up.
Yes. On the self-aware point that you brought up, another one that came to my mind was at the end of A Very Minty Christmas when she's telling them to adjust it again, and they're all like, Minty, and she's just like, what? With like a little smile on her face. Like, yes, she knows. And she's okay with it.
She knows. She's a playful little goofball, and she knows.
Okay, so in summary, Minty is best pony because she has a really pretty color scheme. She has a great voice actor who just gives it her all. She has a lot of conflict and development in her special. She had fears that the others might judge her, but she overcame those fears. She's klutzy but well-meaning, super generous. She's great friends with Pinkie Pie, and she's self-aware of her weaknesses, and she doesn't let them get to her.
Well, thank you so much for having me on, Peace. It was such a joy to talk about this beloved character and all the reasons why she's beloved.
Yes, this was so much fun. Minty is so great, and I'm so excited to do Rarity as well. Thank you. That's all for now. Peace out.